Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Borderlands show here on the SWW Network. I'm Mike. This over here is the cheese-wielding, claptrap-loving, turret-dropping Dan. Dan, how you doing?
I'm eating some Pez right now.
Oh, fucking god damn
I
it.
just found this in my drawer.
How long's it been in your drawer for?
At least a month.
I was really hoping you'd be like, I don't know, I don't remember the last time I had Pez. I think I was a child.
There's they're definitely not more than 3 months old.
I think I'm proud of
At
you.
least I would assume so, because they got a 2019 date printed on them.
He doesn't say
But
much.
I don't remember when I got them.
See, you say
And
that. A
I only
2019 date
have.
on Pez could still literally be years old. They're like, they don't expire 2019.
Oh yeah, I didn't really think about it being a an expiration date. I don't know why that didn't cross my mind.
Yeah. See, for the record, growing up, we had like a candy giant drawer on the top shelf in the pantry, and half of it was literally just Pez dispensers.
I feel like you just amass just these
I don't know where you
huge
get them.
collections of Pez dispensers.
Where do you get Pez dispensers from? I don't know, but we had, I think,
Dude,
hundreds.
it irritates me because it's like, dude, I mean, this one is a Yoshi themed Pez dispenser, which is kind of cool because I like Yoshi.
Question:
He's probably my favorite
does the Pez
character
come out of
in the
his
Mario
butt?
universe.
Does Pez come out of his butt or his mouth?
Um, Technically, it's like his chin.
I can't get
It's
it right.
just below his mouth, so it's like somebody like slit his throat, and it's just like lifting it up. It's this like secondary mouth.
See, I would make it, but you can't because the whole point of Pez dispensers are they're a special way. But to me, what you do is you'd make it Yoshi's in mouth is the entire dispenser, so you pop it up and it's his tongue is what the Pez are on would make sense.
And that would be really cool. That would make me appreciate this Pez dispenser even more.
But not the way it is.
Yeah, it's just dumb. But
Well, technically,
well, the Pez is delicious, and I'm happy that I found it.
proud of you. So yeah, this is not really a Pez show, don't worry. You're here because we're about to talk about more about Borderlands. Today's show is all about Borderlands 2. Remember, this is a series we're doing every couple weeks leading up to and continuing with the release of Borderlands 3. So naturally, the second game in the series is called Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 was released in 2012, again by Gearbox Softwares, and again published by 2K. As we talked about last time, the series has sold over 43 million units, 20 million of those alone, plus, last I saw was a rumor closer to 25, have been Borderlands 2. Many, and I feel like we'll get to there in a second, say Borderlands 2, the best game in the series, which I think is true. We'll get in a minute too. The DLC is not the best in the series, at moments.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose we'll dig deeper into that.
So I figured,
Because I don't know. There's some DLC that
yeah.
I think is pretty great in that game, and then there's other things where I'm like, all right, what's up? What's this?
So I think the best way to start this is talk about the characters like we did with Borderlands 1. So Borderlands 2 is interesting because like before we have 4 main playable characters and then they released 2 DLC characters. I figured we'll save those two for a second. We'll start with our main guys. We have Dan's favorite character, first off, is Axton. Dan, what do you think of
Yes,
Axton?
dude, he's a better Roland. I mean, he's Roland character, the Roland character. He's the soldier in Borderlands 2. He's got the turret, which is, I think, are like not even arguably like it's a fact that is probably the best and most helpful special ability in that game.
Oh, it is.
Um,
That's what upsets me, is I don't think you understood till you played Zero, like a couple places in, you went, oh, this is so much harder.
Oh yeah, I mean with any character, I mean there's times where I'd be just breezing through places, and then I'll go back and play it as somebody else, and I'm like, I don't remember this game being this hard. But no, he's a kick-ass character. Like I said, he's a better Roland, and the turret that he has is
Is the turret better
Absolutely
than
filthy.
Roland's though? Because Roland's turret was pretty busted at points.
I mean, you could make Roland's turret pretty OP. I mean, to the point where you could basically have unlimited ammo and every time it's out, pretty much get full health. But I would wager that Axton's is even better because one, you got two of them,
That's true.
and you could stick them on walls and ceilings, which is like something that I always wished I could do with Roland's.
So it's stick on walls. You could have two, and wasn't one of them like also? I think it's with the stick on walls. It's also a long shot grenade, basically. See,
Yeah, yeah, it was like it would just explode basically when you would throw it out.
and also you could
Like it
throw
would
it
be like cause
so
like an
far
explosion and
away. You could literally be like, "I'm not in that room right now." Boop.
yeah, yeah. And then it would also do slag damage, which actually I have a question before I get into this,
Okay.
just because I don't think it was in the show notes. And I don't remember if we talked about this last week, but are we talking about Commander Lilith this week or
I was doing it this
it's
week.
on its own?
I think it's in this week's on the show notes under DLC. Which the reason you didn't see is because there's 50 pieces DLC. But I putting it in because it's part of two.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it right there. Okay, and I'm gonna continue with what I was saying. And it also there's an ability that lets us shoot slag bullets, which I think doing the um, raid boss in Commander Lilith would be so hard without the turret.
Can confirm.
Yes, I'm. God, I spent. Well, we'll get into the raid boss talk, but Axton's a great character. I love him.
I agree. So Axton's interesting because it's just not the type I play. But yeah, no, Axton I think is the game on easy.
Yes,
Which
100%.
which is funny because I don't know if they per se make a hard because it's kind of like my Pokemon argument that, and then talk about that too. Like Pokemon has the three main types, and literally what they're supposed to be is if you play this, just the type was supposed to be easy, medium, and hard. I think Borderlands almost did a similar balancing act in that way, but it's more like easy, medium, hard.
Yeah. Until then, you get to the DLC characters, and then it's like very hard, and
Very easy.
I would say another medium.
So the next character I've listed here is Zero, which is who I played a literal ton. I really like Zero because, especially as you played against me in Zero, you were like, what the hell are you doing? Because it'd be like, Zero, teleport into clone, and then you either really have the options of shoot shurikens, which deal all damage types, or the freaking stab them. And then if you killed someone with the stab, you then got more seconds on the kill, so you could start chaining it. I think Zero breaks at the same point that Mordecai broke, which is in a boss fight, your ability is basically useless.
Mm-hmm.
The
Which is very difficult to do, especially when you rely on a turret for the vast majority of your playthroughs in that game.
But Zero's at least nice because it goes into that hidden thing is you at least gained health and stuff back in there, which is what makes I think Zero a stronger character than Mordecai was, because to me they're very built on the same mindset. But because of that simple thing, it kind of went, what's the good part of Lilith's ability? Okay, let's give someone else that, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Next, we have our siren of the game, Maya. So Maya is the playthrough I'm currently playing through right now, because it's working on that platinum. That's the one I had the freaking annoying challenge done with for Jimmy Jenkins.
Right.
So, I've been
Jimmy Jenkins. We need to put that in the show notes, just because I would like to have a rant about Jimmy Jenkins. But so,
it's
keep
under
on moving.
our favorite moments. Don't worry.
You're way ahead of me. Perfect. Good work.
So yeah, but Maya's ability is interesting because it's basically the hold up top. Maya, I think what I personally like is Maya has a couple abilities you go down. One of them is just deal all of the element types, which I don't know if it's that strong by itself. I think this one you need to pair with something. One of the trees basically has become the healer of the group, which I think is interesting. Of you would use your ability literally just to revive people.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, which is the best when you combine it with the with the deal all element types one is control a goddamn enemy.
Yeah.
Which
no, I think that Maya, in a. Well, okay, so we agreed last time that Lilith was a useless character.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Maya, I would definitely say isn't a useless character. but I definitely think she was built for playing with multiple people.
I agree. The only thing is, so like right now I'm level like 54, I think, with Maya. So Maya to me, when you get like that really high up like that, is interesting because literally I go control an enemy character, also I deal a ton of elemental types to them, and it does damage continually, and then it jumps to a new guy when he dies. So it's this kind of chain thing of if I get a bunch of enemies with low health, like I killed a like got them really low, and activate Maya's ability, it would just wipe the board real quickly.
Mm, yeah, and I mean that's something that I've also never really done. Maya,
Maya is crowd control. That's the
she's
best
the
way to put her.
only. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's the only character that I've never actually did like an intense playthrough with her. I did a little bit, and then I did the trophy to get the trophy with her, and then I pretty much stopped just because it wasn't super big in my style, and
I think you need to get far with
so I
that.
never really get to
You
appreciate
can't
her as
do
that much.
early Maya. She's like early Maya, which I think is probably with most Borderlands characters is especially early on. You're like, does she have any good powers?
Yeah, right. It's very much I don't know. It just feels kind of like I think I could be having more fun somewhere else. You know.
Speaking of places I wish was more fun, Salvador. So I'm gonna say it right now. Salvador on paper should be the most fun to play. I think he's the most frustrating to play.
I would happen to agree with you. Um,
So
I'm I'm doing a Salvador playthrough right now in Borderlands 2, and he is really cool, and I really like his guns working ability, but man, it is really difficult to consistently find
anything.
a good weapon combination.
The issue is when you like don't realize that you pulled out like a sniper in an RPG and you just go, "Fuck."
Yeah, and I mean it's like okay, great. In this last playthrough, because he's the one I did the Commander Lilith DLC with when it came out, I had this super sick effervescent SMG that did flame damage, and then I think it was like the conference call that did slag.
Mm-hmm.
So that was disgusting. I mean, I ripped people apart with that combination. But like as I leveled up and the game got harder, it was like, well, these two guns are useless now, and it's really difficult to find two, I mean, basically legendary guns that can have that output. Whereas all the other people with their special abilities, they don't rely as heavily on the guns in the game, which I think kind of brings him back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Also, I just think like as much as two guns sounds fun on paper, it's really hard to like aim. Which is
Yeah, yeah, that too. Yeah, especially if you're going up against like just either a group of individual enemies or like some smaller enemies.
it works great in like it works great like are you facing like a bunch of bully mongs? Yeah, he's great because they're giant bullet sponges that like you could kind of get a chain of them going. It doesn't work when I have
Mm.
like a bandit like those couple of those areas where it goes like a bandit or two, bandit or two, bandit or two, or Varkid, Varkid, Varkid. You're like he doesn't work then.
Yeah, it does. I think what you said is correct. It's if you're facing, like two or three smaller enemies, you almost don't want to use a special ability because it just makes the whole encounter feel a little bit more like inconvenient.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now,
However, hold on, if I have one more thing before we move on,
okay.
I will say that the dialogue that Salvador has when he like goes gunzerking and stuff is some of the most enjoyable ever,
He does have
and
good.
I really like it. I really like it when you get the voice module and you have to become Handsome Jack because he literally just runs around like saying like, "Hey, look at me, I'm a dickhead," and I think it's hilarious.
That's true. Okay. So now we have two more characters, which is what makes Borderlands 2 very interesting. We have Gage, and I think it's Krieg. Is that how you pronounce the band?
Yes, Krieg.
So Gage is the one I look at and go, Gage is the game on easy mode. Because that goddamn guy you get with her, stupid powerful.
The Death Trap.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I would rate that very similar to Roland. I mean, I feel like it's very similar to a turret. Obviously, it's different. It has its
The,
own things,
the
but
reason
same
I
kind of
think it's
principle.
better is it can give
Yeah,
you second wind.
yeah, which is dope. it reminds me of like a if you ever played as Claptrap in the pre-sequel,
Mm-hmm.
it reminds me of one of his abilities, but like 500 times better.
Yeah, shooting when you're down, like whatever. But this is having another thing which can go chase enemies while you're down is fundamentally insane.
Yeah, dude, yeah, it's very cool. Um, she was another character that I didn't spend a whole ton of time with. I did like half a playthrough and some DLC. Um, but I thought, yeah, like I said, it was kind of like Roland, but with its own kind of flair to it.
And now, the character that makes Salvador look good.
Yeah, seriously.
Hello, everyone. Meet Krieg, our lovely psycho.
And oh man, Krieg bums me out. I tried so hard to have like a really solid playthrough with him, but he's so difficult to fight major enemies with.
You can't. You just can't. Like, he has cool abilities. Like, every time I slaughter someone, I get all my health back. Like, he has good stuff. It's just, he's so hard to control.
Yeah, I mean, it is really like using him is just plain difficult. And there's really cool things about using him, and I think you definitely get the perks from his um, ability being harder, but it's still way harder.
Okay, so those are our 6 playable characters. As always, we'll come back to the end of the show. Now is a new kind of thing I kind of chucked here, because I think we could talk about these for a bit, is favorite moments of Borderlands 2. Or, not favorite, maybe memorable is a better term, because I feel like some of these are not our favorite in a second.
Yeah, yeah.
I combined 2 into 1 just because I played them back to back, was you have combination of Death of Bloodwing and Death of Roland, like, within, like, an hour of each other in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Death of Bloodwing is one thing, and I think about connection to it, but that Death of Roland scene in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when the game had like just come out, and you and I were talking about it, and I remember because you would always played as Mordecai in the first one, and you were like, oh man, when Bloodwing died, I was so bummed out, and I was like, you just lost your bird, dude. I lost my character. But yeah, absolute bummer of a moment, but.
Because that's, if I remember correctly,
I mean,
right as you figure out that Angel is actually, like, a siren. Like, you knew Angel was bad, turned good already, but you didn't know she was a goddamn siren.
Right. And then it's like, once you find that out, and then Lilith shows up in the battle, and you're like, oh, boy, I know where this one's gonna go.
You didn't, though. Because Jack appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, okay, I can see something bad happening to Lilith, because Angel warned her. But it's like you don't see the Roland one coming.
Because they set it up to the point of like, you're like, they're not gonna kill the characters. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I think that like at that moment, that was when the Borderlands series, to me, went from being a just kind of like this like fun kind of unique shoot and loot game to being like, hey, we're serious.
Do you mean
we can't be serious.
We're gonna have to talk about the DLC, which is literally about denial in a second.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it goes further into that, but yeah, like I said, that moment is like this game is saying, hey, we're adults, okay? We can talk about, we can have drama, we can talk about these things, and we can kill off characters that everybody loves.
God. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about, which I think is interesting, especially because with us looking at Borderlands 1, is the ways they made Borderlands 2 actually connect to 1 really impress me, because there are some hooks there that I remember, like the Hyperion Saddle at the end, so obviously that's there, but like, stuff like making Angel matter, or making other things matter, where I guarantee you, they did not plan for those things to matter in the beginning, really impresses me about the story in this game.
Oh, 100%. When I looked at the show notes and I saw this, the first thing I thought of was, I don't know, he's like the second or third person you meet in Borderlands 1 that'll give you missions, Shep Sanders.
Yeah.
He's the dude that sold out Old Haven and who Brick like brutally murdered. And it's just like, in Borderlands 1, he's this like meaningless character who you get occasionally jobs from, and now in this one, he's the whole reason that like Sanctuary is what it is, and how the state of the Crimson Raiders are what they are.
Or that's a good one. Or I always point to, like, when you do, which I really like, the Clan Ward missions, and you realize that it's Lucky's annual reception funeral.
Oh, and you know that Scooter killed Lucky?
Yeah, because you helped Scooter kill a king 'cause you saw it in the first one.
Hmm. And I mean, and there's, I mean, that's those are just two examples. I'm sure that replaying it again and going over it with a comb, we could find so many different references to little minor things in the first game that it's like, oh, hey, that seemed like nothing, but now it has an effect on the game today.
Or even stuff like how Moxie's like a main character, or Tannis is there, and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, yeah, all these characters who again were just, I mean, what
You put
didn't even
Earl on the
realize.
goddamn city. Like Earl, you meet at the beginning.
Oh,
You didn't meet Earl until 20 hours into Borderlands One.
yeah, dude, and Earl is now everywhere, and he's like friggin' crazy Earl, man. He's just doing crazy Earl things.
He's just there.
I mean, the other thing too that I thought was, I mean, kind of interesting is, and I didn't realize it at first. Moxie like was not in Borderlands One until the Underdome DLC,
Right. But we
which
think
is,
of
and it's
Moxie
like,
as
so
like,
here she's nothing basically, and now she's this huge character, and it's like, oh, okay, cool,
but
you
we
know?
think of her like now. If we go to our head, you for sure think of her as like one of the main characters. But like in Borderlands One, she was not.
Yep, she was literally in one DLC that provided, I mean, to the game, no story, just
Mm-hmm.
loot and shoot 'em up.
So the next thing I think when you talk about Dan, so this game actually did them correctly. I think as a whole, maybe exceptions where they didn't. I think they figured out how to do the actual arenas correctly in this game.
I would agree, 100%.
Because they were simple. They went, okay, here's 5 rounds, or here's 6 rounds. That maybe take you 20 minutes. That's it. We divide them into submissions. They're not going to take you 50 hours.
Yep. Yeah, you don't need to sit in the whatever it is, the natural selection annex for 4 hours nonstop and play through this. It's okay. You can literally knock all 5 rounds of this quest out in like an hour
which
at
is
most.
fine, because they also subgroup them so when they get harder, like there's a lot of ways to do it. I go, this makes sense.
Yeah,
See?
you can do the first 3 rounds and then be like, "Okay, I'm gonna come back to these when I'm a little bit stronger," and
Mm-hmm.
there's no issues. It's still there. You don't need to restart it all.
Also, I think they don't scale with your level, which I think the ones in Borderlands 1 did also, which sucked.
Yep, and that is true too.
They
And
actually went, oh, they're in the game. Let's actually make them make sense.
yeah, it just, and it felt nicer too. It wasn't just like I think of in Borderlands One, there's the handful of arenas where you fight bandits and skags or whatever. And it's just like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. There wasn't really much of a reward for doing it. And in this one now, it's like, oh, cool, I'm getting like a really decent amount of XP. Oh, and it's not making me want to kill myself because it's doable.
Hmm. Okay. So then, Dan, you want to talk about this next one? It was both of our favorite challenge, I know.
All right, this is mm,
So there's a lot
for
of memes in this
somebody.
game.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's a lot of memes in this game, and I think this is one that did not need to be in this game.
Oh, 100%. If you're not a platinum hunter, this is totally meaningless to you. But if you are, and there's the trophy that is complete level 1 of all non-area specific challenges, and you see that there's one called Jimmy Jenkins where you need to kill Jimmy Jenkins, then you realize that his spawn rate is so minuscule that you got to farm him for like 200 hours unless you do it the right way the first time. And it's like, oh man, dude, that pissed me off so much.
The only thing that I think makes it redeemable is the one cheat at least increases it.
Mm. Yeah, there's the one area where you can just keep going back and forth in, and you can spawn like 4 of them, and it's like, and yeah, no, I never got a platinum on the PS3 version because of that challenge. And I remember the first time I played the game on the PlayStation 4. Excuse
You
my dog
pinged it in
barking.
like an hour, I think.
Oh, I got it. I got it on my first try,
And you
and
literally just text me saying, I think just son of a fucking bitch with a picture. I think that's the entire text.
it probably was, but dude, I lost my mind. I was like, "This is the greatest day of my whole life." I didn't even have to try.
God. The other thing I want to talk about then is the guns in this game actually they make visual sense now, and They're distinct. I miss Goddamn Atlas. Bandit gun sucks, but I think it's fun though because we did stuff here now. Like TDR weapons are what we think of them. Like where you chuck, you could actually just throw them out because they're so cheap. Or Torque doesn't believe in bullets; he believes in explosions.
Yeah, yeah. I think in this game, there's a couple of things that I miss, but definitely to a greater extent, all the gun manufacturers have their own identity.
Which is interesting. So there's so many of them, and you're like, no, they actually like. I can look at a gun and go, oh, that makes sense. Like I know, for example, I will never pick up a bandit gun.
And now, see, I, on the other hand, will 9 times out of 10 pick up a bandit pistol and a bandit SMG.
My issue with bandit is their like range and like of where you might hit is so wide. And they tend to do wonky stuff because they're cheap.
I always maybe I just liked it because I liked Axton and he was a lot about same with Salvador. They're both about firepower, and so just putting bullets down range. That's all you needed to do.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Why to be a little more selective on where I hit?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that I would wager that Hyperion guns were like the most advanced and like best guns to get.
Hyperion, what they did was the longer you pulled on the trigger, more accurate they became, which didn't matter on stuff like rocket launchers or like it inherently made you not want to have small clip guns.
Right. Yeah, and I know I still think of, I think this is debatable between a couple of things, but one of the best guns in the game is the conference call, and
I knew
that
you were
was
going
like,
there. I just knew it.
that shotgun, dude, I loved it so much.
Speaking of guns, then, and now that we're still on my favorite moments, the AI gun or shield you get in this game, beautiful.
What was that? You went in and out there.
Do you
Sorry.
remember the AI? So you do the mission when you go back to the stronghold.
Oh,
and
yeah, and they would talk to you.
Yeah, if you have a shield or gun, he would straight talk to you.
That reminds me also of the Bane,
Oh yeah.
which it was that SMG that when you had it equipped, you were slowed down like 1,000%, and it would just scream every time you fired. And it sucked because it's like this gun is super cool. Like it's high damage. It's got like pretty decent fire rate. It's got a good elemental chance, but you can't move
You could move, just not that well.
very slowly. That was the gun that I would use back when I was living in the dorm, and I just wanted to piss off my roommates.
You would be like 50 levels above me, like I'm turning this thing on.
Be like, all right, he's studying, he's taking a nap. Yep, we're gonna pull out the Bane
You're like, put in your subwoofer on the TV and go.
and just unload with like a magazine with 60 bullets, and with each shot, it just screams.
God. Again, made no sense as a gun, but it was good. But I think that's
No.
kind of what made this game interesting too. Was like they very leaned into like how absurd could we put it at points.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's plenty of guns where it's like, why would I ever use this?
Oh, yeah.
But it's there, and it's like, hey, maybe you can find a pretty sick build, and you can use this on something, and it'll be great. Who
What
knows?
was and we'll get to it when we get to Torque, but wasn't there an RPG that we literally had to grind for hours on?
Oh yeah, I remember. I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, it basically shot like a nuclear bomb, and it would kill. I think it would kill the vast majority of enemies in one hit, but if you were too close to it, it would kill you as well.
That was
Yeah, I think I got it out of.
I
I
thought
think
it
I
was
got it out of the
Torque.
torque vending machines.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was torque for sure.
Before we get to DLC, do you have any other like
Um,
moments or memories that stick with you of this game?
I'm trying to think of there was there's so many little things that were super memorable, like the Lord of the Rings quest. I don't know if you ever did that.
No, but I always like the Turtles quest.
What was the turtles one?
That would be Mox gave you a pizza, and you'd go back to the place where Roland was captured. You go under there, you jump into the sewers.
Oh, right,
It was like
right.
Mitch,
Yeah, that one was pretty entertaining.
Dan,
Um,
rah, and if you go out there, then you have to hit the special thing, and if a splinter pops up.
Oh, yep, and you gotta fight all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think my favorite one was the Lord of the Rings thing, where is you had to go to Claptrap's place, and there was like a ring that you found in the fire, and you would have to go without using fast travel to Iridium Blight and throw it in a volcano, and then you got like some special head
See, I
for
like it
doing
that,
it.
or like it was Laney and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh yeah, that one too. Or did you ever run into
That was when she shot herself.
Oh,
The ending of that quest is you do the seventh thing, give Scooter the love of his life after you kill the seven dwarves, and she goes, Scooter? She goes inside, she goes, 1 second, and you just hear a gun being popped.
yeah, then Scooter's like, so
You
what did
like
she
it?
say? Yeah, that's a great one. Or Donkey Mong too.
That's a good one. That's very interesting. It's hidden. Or obviously there's the Minecraft area.
Which is also like super sick, and you get to fight the creepers and stuff.
Oh no, the one that although really really sticks with me is when you're the beginning. Towards the beginning, we get Sanctuary, and Claptrap's like, we need to go on this quest to get his top secret thing to get his access to stuff.
Oh yeah, the stash.
And it's literally this giant list, and just falls open.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember when I was getting that quest like the very first time, and I'm looking at all this stuff, and I was like, dude, this is either gonna go one of two ways. This is going to be the longest quest in the game, and it's supposed to be, or something's gonna go wrong, and I'm not gonna have to
Dan,
do any of it. And sure enough, I turn
when
around,
we
take
get
two
to the
steps, and
headhunters, we'll get to the longest quest in the game.
oh god, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay, so I think it's time to transition to DLC, which you think wouldn't be the long part of the show. It's about so some general
Dude,
DLC
there has to be as much DLC as there is.
main game.
I mean, it's a whole nother game, I would imagine.
Oh, it is. Okay, so some general things what I find interesting. Obviously, we said this is the first time we had playable characters as DLC. There was level up packs as DLC, which I don't know if you remember. So if you got the season pass, you got them for free, but that was some of the level up stuff were just tied to it.
Mhm.
The annual DLC, which we talked about already, the Annex Arena, was DLC. And my other note before we get into the actual DLCs is why the hell did every DLC have a raid boss and missions that didn't end? Those two things pissed me off to hell and back.
Yep, I would agree. Part of me understands the raid bosses just because it's like everybody seems to everybody love the raid bosses. That's the cool thing to do now at the end of everything is no, there's a raid boss.
Okay, that's
But
one
yeah, the
thing.
missions that never ended irritated me.
I go, I understand there's a way to grind stuff, but I didn't need missions that like would stay on my map or I couldn't get rid of. I was like, I'm like the whole part of the enjoyment of it was that you could like clear your checklist, which you can't do anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a completionist.
I can't literally. I cannot complete my quest log.
And that's such a frustrating feeling to have to deal with.
Like if they put it in a separate section, it was almost what I'd almost rather be like, here's the things that repeat. I'd be like, okay, good.
Yeah, but no, it was just like, no, this is gonna be here. So, have fun.
So now it's time for the big pieces of DLC. I think I'm gonna start with the big ones that'll work to headhunters. So this is where
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think the DLC we're about to listen to is 3 of the 5 pieces of DLC are good to great. 2 of them are not. We're about to start with the ones that are not. Captain Scarlet and her pirate's booty.
Yes.
I think it's interesting because this was the first piece of DLC we got for the game, so it's an interesting, like, completely different tone. And you got, like, the new ship, obviously. But this DLC just doesn't stick with me.
Oh, I hold a different opinion.
Okay, then what sticks with you about this DLC? Because to me, I go, it's all in the desert, and, like, we get, like, a desert campaign in the next one, so...
Yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe I like pirates, and so maybe that's why it stuck with me. Um, but yeah, I honestly I would definitely rate this one as the third best of the main DLCs.
Okay.
It's definitely not the best one. It's not the second best one, but it was good. I enjoyed it. My only qualm with it is that I wish that it was a little bit bigger because it felt kind of lacking in some points. Like it just needed a little bit more. yeah, but I thought it was fun. I thought it introduced some pretty cool characters, and I didn't really have too much of a problem with it.
I think I found stuff like the worms annoying to fight, for example.
Oh yeah, and that's true. Um, Honestly, most of the time when I would encounter them, I would just leave them alone and run away.
Okay. This one also is the first time we get, which will be a theme in most of the DLCs, is like a weird currency that we're like, how do we use this thing?
Oh my god! And oh, I totally forgot about those to be honest. But those should go in the show notes. We should talk about
So let's
Seraph crystals.
so the Seraph crystals, you'll have torque bucks, you'll have whatever the hell Sir Hammerlock had. Like, what was that? Why did we need this mystical new currency and all this stuff?
It was just like I think what it was mainly for was to so outside of obviously farming for legendaries, I think it offered a new thing to farm raid bosses for because that was the only way you could get them,
Right.
and there was
No,
the
there's some
unique
quests.
gear that you could get from the store.
Those are the repeatable quests all had it too.
Yeah, and it was just like I mean I understood it, and I actually never got a piece of Seraph equipment because you'd only get like I don't know at most 8 to 10 crystals per boss. And it's like, do you know how many times you gotta fight those things to get enough for one gun?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that really just I liked the concept. I like having kind of a little bit more of a reward for doing raid bosses, like farming them, but it felt to me like it really wasn't scaled to a acceptable amount.
Mm-hmm. That's valid. Next piece of DLC that came out, which I think is one of the high points of this series, Mr. Torque's Campaign of Carnage. We need to talk about explosions
That's
here.
I mean that's I'll be honest, and I'm really torn. I want to give this one the best DLC
See,
title in
I
this.
don't, and there's this, we all know which one's the best DLC I'm going to give it to.
Yeah, but and I mean that one deserves it. But just because that one is so, I think beyond um anything that they've created before. I mean, it's so fantastic. But this DLC is so fun and so well written,
It's
and
when you
it's
meet
just
Mr.
so good.
Torque, you're like, what the hell is this guy?
Yeah, he's arguably one of my favorite characters
He's
in the entire
literally
universe.
just Macho Man and Hulk Hogan had a kid.
Oh my god, I know I mean he's perfect. It's like you watch WWE growing up, you're like, yeah, dude, this guy's great.
Explosions!
I got one question for you. Explosions?
Or you go there, he's like, you literally just going to an arena to fight. And then he's like, okay, something else happening. Or like when he would go off
And
air, and it would still be like screaming at folk past you with cameras following you. He's like, shoot the cameras! We can't talk here.
I mean, it really like he's just so absolutely nuts, and he's just like a fantastic character. He's so ridiculous, and I think and he's just so well
Which
put
is
over the
why
top.
they give it to us in 3 more DLCs, but like his main characters in 2 more DLCs, just because how perfect he is.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that he makes an appearance in Borderlands 3. Um, he's so funny. His character is so well made and so well written, and he's just absolutely enjoyable
Also, this one,
to
I
me.
think, I think if I remember right too, I think we find out he was like married to Moxie at one point, which is another weird.
I don't
Because
remember,
I remember
but you could be right because
Jack was
Moxie's been
married to
married to like
Moxie.
everybody.
Mordecai had a thing with Moxie, and I thought Torque did also.
Up Jack, Marcus,
Mordecai.
Mordecai,
I've lost the trend.
some other. There's some other dude in Pyro Pete's in like the Pyro Pete area too, but I don't remember his name.
Oh god, don't remind me of Pyro Pete. But yeah,
Yeah,
wait,
another one of them.
this one have like multiple raid bosses in it?
Yeah, it had Pete the Invincible and Hyperius the Invincible, and I think that was it.
But yeah, the Torque butts. This is the one I remember where the only way to finish the goddamn race was we kept cheating it, and one of us would wait by the exit.
Yeah, dude, it's really difficult, and I remember doing that, and we got a lot of money from doing that, so that was pretty cool.
But it's still like, I'm like, who in testing was like, we know the timing of this racetrack. Okay,
I'm eating a piece of chocolate. I got hungry.
that's fine. So the next one, this is the one I think is the weak DLC. I almost Sir Hamlock's Big Game Hunt. So I like Sir Hamlock as a character, and I think most of this DLC is fun. But like again, I don't know if this DLC sticks with me, and also like again, Sir Hamlock's the only character I think that in this that matters that really matters.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, I think they had a cool idea, and I like that it was kind of built around this whole like, oh, we're going on a big game hunt, and the main premise of it is that, oh, you're going out and you're gonna fight these weird creatures, and it almost has this very kind of colonial-esque feel to it. Um, but yeah, no, I agree. It just wasn't strong.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was lacking the characters and the story and the missions that I think the other DLC were that really made it memorable. I didn't really feel like this one had a reason for me to play it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now this DLC is the one I think is the creme de la creme. This DLC is about the size, I think, of Borderlands 1. This is Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which I don't even know where to start with this moment of this DLC.
This is the one that I think we can agree on is one of the best things that they've ever created.
The thing is, okay, so it takes place after Borderlands 2, which is very important, because this entire thing is about Tina coping with the death of Roland.
And this, I think, goes back to that whole moment of the death of Roland, where it's like saying, "Hey, I understand that we're kind of a wacky, kind of crazy game, but we can be serious too, and we need to."
Like, it's so, like, I like the thing where it's like, stuff like, where she's like, we're gonna wait for Roland, he has to play, and they're like, Tina, she's like, no, we're going on a quest. And, like, it's stuff like that, like, dealing with a kid dealing with death, or,
Hmm.
this DLC is also hilarious. Like, that's when this Torque's like, I want to be in the game. And Torque's the gatekeeper. And then you have to punch people to make them explode. And then in response, Tina put him in the jail.
One of the missions, we're gonna blow up the ocean. Yeah, I mean, just a phenomenal DLC.
Or like
I mean, that's
there's like critiques on like game design balance where she made impossible to puzzles and they're like, you can't do that. You can't start with a thing they can't kill. She was like, why?
it just again, it's so well written,
Or
and
this is my favorite moment I think of any DLC is when we realize that every single dwarf looks like Salvador, and then Lilith points it out, and Tina screams downstairs and goes, "Sal, what do you think that all dwarves you? Is it racist?" And Sal goes, "Nah, I like it."
honestly, I think my favorite moment in that was when they like started to make fun of like these like oh man, kind of like runescapey kind of games where there's people like farming the same boss and trying to get the loot,
You seem
and
to
then you
kill
have to
them.
make them rage quit by doing like teabagging them and like no scoping them and stuff like that.
That one's surprisingly hard too.
It's just so funny. I love it when it. I mean, the whole thing was just like
Or the thing
fantastic.
is, this is the first time where they actually introduced like really brand new enemies that you hadn't seen before. Because like the other ones had new enemies, but you could kind of tell where they came from. With this had like stuff you're like, the hell is this?
Like the sorcerers and the mages
The
and the
guys you had to
knights
pull the
and
swords out
all
of.
the skeleton dudes and
God.
I don't remember how long it took me to figure out that on those immortal skeletons you have to pull the sword out of them.
Which is again one of those things you like. And once you understand, it makes sense. But until like I hate when like you down one, but since when you go down, you can't use them as a kill.
And it's just like that's so infuriating.
But no, the writing on this thing is goddamn pristine,
Yeah, it's. I mean, it really is
and it's
amazing.
literally like 20 hours of content, if not more.
It's so well done. Like I think it's the best. I think it's the best DLC that they've created for any of their games.
Because it's even like I think I remember like it ends with like Tina breaking down crying like at the end of this.
Hmm. Yeah, when she finally like is forced to accept it, you know.
Yeah. Or like that's the whole thing is Jack's evil thing and like Jack tries to control it. Like you can tell it's like it's genius the way they like did this like whole metaphor.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. I mean, there's so many highlights of that we could talk about,
It's
and I mean, we could go on for hours. I think just talking about like great moments and just stuff in that game that is or in that DLC that's fantastic, and it's great. I totally love it.
okay. So the next DLC, which is literally came out like a month and a half ago,
Yep,
Commander Lilith
strangely.
and the Fight with Sanctuary. So this DLC is where I think, and I think we agreed with that time. This feels to me like it's not as strong. It's like it feels like a B team was given this DLC, but I think the more I look back at it, the more I go, it's a cool setup for three, and I think this is such an amazing idea they did.
Oh, and it's I mean it's really smart on them too because now they're getting people going back and playing their game, after probably most people stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, no, hey, here's this totally new thing. Um, it's not perfect by any means. I think that you can tell that the game has aged 7 years
Mm-hmm.
since the last time they made something.
But I think it's
Um,
still really cool that they're like, yeah, we're gonna come back to this thing.
oh yeah, it's super cool, and I definitely think it's super important. Um, it makes me excited for Borderlands 3, but it also made me a little worried about it.
But it totally feels like you gave it to someone that wasn't the main team. Is what it felt like to me. Like there are even like map design moments in there where I'm like, that's interesting. Why is this a dead
Yeah,
end?
it
Or
just there's things in it that just it doesn't feel like it is as polished, and
how
and
did you
like I said,
feel
I think that it's just because they were trying to get it out and they were trying to
playing it well?
make this something to connect the story,
I
and
have a
so it was a
question
little
for
bit
you.
rushed. And I just hope that the Borderlands 3 doesn't come out feeling the same way that
Mm-hmm.
DLC did.
How did you feel about finding out Scooter's death in this DLC?
That one took me completely off guard. Um,
When Moxie
it
directly
was at
says
that
it.
it was at that moment that I realized I probably should have played Tales from the Borderlands.
But like, so that's
So
interesting. I like the part where they like put Mordecai in this thing. I was like, if they kill fucking Mordecai in the middle of this DLC,
yeah, seriously. Um, that was I mean, like I said, it was cool because it created some conflict and created a whole new kind of thing and really paved the way for Borderlands 3. I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with it.
I like the whole thing
Um,
at the end where you could tell everyone's leaving the world besides Lilith, which you know is gonna be a very interesting story beat.
mhm. Yeah, it's true, and I mean, I don't know. I wasn't. This wasn't my favorite DLC by any means.
The boss
I
fight at
think
the
there's
end
a lot that could
sucks.
have been improved on it, but it was okay, and I think it'll. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens when Borderlands 3 comes out, but
Yeah. Okay. So now we have the rest of the DLCs here are headhunter packs. So I think there's one amazing headhunter pack. I think there's like one or two okay headhunters, and I think the rest suck. So I'm gonna start with the.
yeah, I would kind of agree for some of them.
So I think the best one is what I'm gonna stick with is the horrible hunger of the Ravage's water gabbler because it stars Torque,
Yes,
and it's not
and
only does it star Torque, it stars Torque's
yeah, and
grandmother,
and Torque's grandma.
which that's the longest quest in the game is Torque's grandma. Because it literally, he goes, she's going to tell you a story. And the part that you go, I'm going to put my controller down and go get a cup of coffee, right? Then she asks you quizzes that will make you pass or fail based upon the quiz. Which, don't you agree that was insane when you saw that?
Yes, yeah, I can agree with that. It was a really fun one. Um, the other one that I liked that I thought was okay, wasn't great by any means, is I really like TK Baja's thing,
That
but I
was
think
one of
that
the
was just
two
because
I was
TK
pointing
Baja
at.
was in
TK Baja, because I was returning to TK Baja, and I kind of like how Marcus saved Mercenary Day.
it. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that one to go in the direction that it did, but I thought it was quite entertaining.
And then the two bad ones I think we kind of agree are Mad Moxie and the Wedding Day Massacre, and then Sir Hammerlock versus the son of Cromax, which I have in quotes. Who the hell asked for this shit?
Yeah, I would agree, but it was just so weak and it really bummed me out.
Right, you have a note here. The raid on Diz's Truck Peak.
Yes, that was a DLC that you did not have on here.
What DLC was this?
This was one. Like I said, I don't think this was considered a headhunter. This was a DLC that allowed for overleveled stuff, and basically it was. I mean, it's basically just like um, similar to an Underdome, but with a little bit more. I don't know.
I just don't remember this. How did I miss this?
Dude, honestly, I played it like a little bit because it's really really difficult to do with like just one person.
Hmm.
Um, however, according to what I read on the internet, this is like one of the only ways you can get pearlescent weapons. So I mean, it has and you overlevel in it, and so there's obviously there's some use to it.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Hmm.
I just has
Yeah, no,
I
like I
only
said, I would recommend you hopping on it and you giving it a try, and then I think you'll do what I did, and is you'll play that for a half hour, and you'll be like, dude, I can't do this.
okay.
No.
This just blows my
Um,
mind.
but yeah, anyway, going back to the Hammerlock one, just because I don't know if you got in what I said or not, and if you did, you can just edit this out. But I think that could have been one of the coolest DLCs, but it just sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of everybody going on a vacation after they just save the world, and then it's just not ending up being a vacation.
Hmm.
But it's just like, okay, I don't see why this is important.
Yeah, it did not matter in the slightest, which I think almost like a trend in this is they tried to make Hammerlock matter multiple times, and I almost feel like as much as I like him, he doesn't matter.
Yeah, they didn't need to make him matter. I think he's a great character,
He's a
and I
great.
think he offers this really unique
He
kind of
introduces
perspective
the
that you
shit.
don't see in the
Yeah,
Borderlands with a lot of characters. But they really just tried to force him to be cool, and in doing so, he wasn't cool.
yeah. No, it was one of those things of like you're like on paper, I understand why you wanted this guy to be cool. I do not care about him.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, I think we can agree with most of the headhunters. They weren't great. There was some cool moments in them, and there was a couple of fun ones, but for the most part, I think it was just kind of like a, hey, here's more content.
I also think also to be fair, and that's the point I'm gonna say too. All of them were like $2, so it's not like any of these were like actual cost headhunt. Like none of the headhunt packs for what they costed, I think they're fine. It was just I would
Yeah,
skip some
no,
personally.
it definitely wasn't like paying $15 for new DLC and you get
Two
crap.
hours,
It
yeah.
was just like, hey, yeah, here's an extra, I don't know, hour to 2 hours of campaign with some new loot and a couple of customizable things for a couple bucks.
It was simple. I think it worked fine. I liked the whole why they're called headhunters is whenever you beat the boss, you got a new head. Like it was kind of like a cool gimmick, and it was like you'd rather this than them charging the dollar they would have charged for a new skin. Like
Right. Yeah, it's like, hey, get a new skin and actually, earn it instead of
mm-hmm.
just paying money for a skin.
That's the thing. I think it worked fine. I think on paper, actually, I don't mind this concept for this type of game. It was actually kind of a cool micro, especially when you're like, because what it was is what made this game interesting. The tail on this game of new DLC coming out. This was a cool way to kind of like do that.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, and like you said, I think it's just totally justifiable. I think because according to what they're talking about with Borderlands 3 now is that there's going to be even more downloadable content
Mm-hmm.
than there was in Borderlands 2. So I imagine that there's going to be things very similar to this. And I imagine if they come out, I think I would just like them to be a little bit more stronger and a little more engaging.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair thing. But again, I think these were cool ideas. As we kind of wrap this down,
Yeah,
Dan.
yeah, definitely a cool idea. Just maybe need to be refined a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So as we wrap this down, are there any other things you want to get off your chest about Borderlands 2? Again, so kind of like one of the things I want to start with that is Hammerjack. I think is one of the strongest villains I think in video games history. Just
100% agree.
his personality, which like stuff like Butt Stallion, which you never mentioned, and like little shit like that. Where you're like, well, this guy is just perfectly written.
100%. Um, my favorite moment from Handsome Jack is literally when you get to the Highlands for the first time, and he talks about how a guy ran at him with a spoon, and he like brutally murders this guy in front of his family, and he's laughing hysterically about it. And like you, at that point, you can see like, dude, you're totally insane. Like he thinks he's the good guy, and he's defending himself by brutally murdering this, harmless dude. And then at the end, he goes, "Yeah, but moral of the story is you're a bitch." And it's just like that totally sums up his absolute psychotic behavior and his mental state, and the fact that he's also just like a sarcastic asshole the entire time you're fighting him.
Mm-hmm. It's that, and I like the mission where he hires you to kill yourself by jumping off a cliff.
And then you either do it and he's like, "Fine, you don't get paid," or you don't do it and he's like, "Fine, you don't get paid," or you do it and he's like, "Hey, you're a sellout."
Or like think of the subconscious nature of it was his respawn beacons you're using the entire time because he cared about money that much.
Yeah. And that's something I was about to bring up too, is like, if he ever really wanted to like stop you, he could just, cancel your subscription to Hyperion New You, which I think the only way that you can justify it is by saying he's, just that obsessed with making money.
Which,
Um,
as we move to closer moments, the other thing I've got to bring up, so Marcus, it's cheap as hell, right? The Bloodshot Stronghold, where Roland's captured, I love how you can find the tape recordings of Marcus going, "Dear Bloodshots, I hear you have a problem with the Raiders," and then you can find alternate recordings where he went, "Dear Resistance, I hear you have a problem with Bloodshots."
yeah, I mean, dude's a capitalist, man. He's just there making money, and I think that I appreciate his character because of that.
That was in the Commander Luke DLC where he went, "I'm never selling him guns ever again."
Yep. After yeah, we were on the same page. I can't think of what his name is though, but yeah,
after
you're right.
did something, he's like, "I'm never selling that tech ever again." Like he basically said he armed him.
Yeah, seriously. It's just, hey man, he's just a capitalist. He's out there making bank, and he's without a doubt the richest man in the universe. But he's just living.
Or that was, I think this is a good way to end our final mission that makes memorable is when you have to find Marcus's spank bank, and it's all Moxie.
Yep. And then it's like, hey, well, I mean, I can give this to Marcus or I can give it to Moxie, and I'm not going to judge you based on what you chose for that option, but I just think that there should be a third option to maybe keep it all for yourself.
Okay. So now this is how we end our Borderlands show here. First one, we're calling it ranking of the games. Dan, does Borderlands 2 go above or below Borderlands 1?
I think we don't even really need to answer this question based on the way we've talked about this game. But it is definitely better than Borderlands 1.
Okay. I completely agree.
The way I would describe this game to anybody who played Borderlands 1 and is unsure about getting Borderlands 2 is they took everything great about Borderlands 1 and everything wrong with Borderlands 1 and made it better and fixed it completely.
I agree. The only thing I'm going to stick with, and I think I always have the stance is, Borderlands, if we're talking solely DLC, I think Borderlands 2 has the prize for the best and the worst DLC in the series. Where Borderlands 1
You know what? I think I would agree with that statement.
Because Borderlands 1 low point is obviously Moxie. But beyond that, the other pieces of DLC are somewhere between the good and great category. Where Borderlands 2 has the amazing to just as bad category.
I would definitely say, if you ask me what my top 5 DLC in the whole Borderlands series are, Sorry, let me rephrase that. If you were to ask me what my top three DLC are in the whole Borderlands series, two of those top three would be from Borderlands 1.
Right, and that's what I think is interesting about this. I think Borderlands 2 is a stronger thing, and then even stuff like Borderlands 2, they figured out how to do fast travel in DLC. Like there's little stuff they did to improve it, but at the same time, like Borderlands 1 still has its moments, and I think it's still like DLC especially is a great game.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with saying that just because I would rate Borderlands 2 higher than 1, it does not mean that Borderlands 1 is a bad game. It just means that Borderlands 2 is a great game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now it's time for Death of the Playables. I think I am almost willing to bet that we're on the same page. I'm gonna write down a word, and I want you to tell the audience if you agree with me or not. Okay?
Right? Ah, you know what? I would. Yeah.
So I wrote down
Um,
Krieg, or Craig, or Krieg, whatever the hell.
Krieg. Yeah, Krieg. I really like him, and I like his character. I think he's a great character, but I don't think
So who are you
he
debating with him?
is. What was that?
Who are you debating with him? In your head, if it wasn't Krieg, who would it be?
Um, it's just a tough question. I think for me, it would be. I think it would probably end up being Salvador.
See, and to me, and I think Salvador is a better Krieg.
Yeah, which is why I think by getting rid of if you take Krieg off the table, then it goes to Salvador
But if Krieg is
because I think Maya has her uses.
Maya's a late game character, I think
Obviously,
is what use.
Gage and Roland are like you said the game on easy, and Zero is super unique
He works.
and is fun to use.
Yeah, I think part of Zero was
But yeah,
saves him because he
Salvador is just
works.
kind of he's just kind of whatever, you know?
But I think Krieg does Salvador work because Salvador like has his saving moments because they gave him basically bricks, powers plus some. I think is what saves him from not falling in that same camp.
Right. Yeah, and Krieg is just he's just not enough on his own,
Like
and I think
giving him a
that's
thing
what
I
puts
could
him.
throw is not enough to save him.
Yeah, exactly. Um, he's a great character, and I think it's just because he's got a personality that you wouldn't expect to see, because he's a psycho, but yeah, he's just not great to play with.
Yeah. But yeah, so that would do it then. Believe it or not, the next episode is Borderlands the prequel. Even though the two games came out a month apart, Tales of Borderlands did come out in November of 2014, where prequel came out in October of 2014.
All right, well then that's one we're gonna have to knock out next. That's the one I'm gonna have to start playing.
Yep, the prequel is next. Prequel is interesting because it's going to be the first of the next two games that are not made by Gearbox. It is in fact made by 2K Australia. Uh, but yeah, so Dan, any final words on Borderlands 2?
Um, Borderlands 2 is definitely in my top 5 games of all time. I loved it. I think it's an amazing game, and I think that is what the Borderlands series should try to build on.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to take any of their old games and build on them.
I agree. Borderlands 2 is a I think Borderlands 2 is a fascinating game on the way in a matter of a couple years a studio can evolve and learn from their mistakes and realizing what's great in a series. And it is really the game that took the series from a great game to a series, which I think there's more to it than making a sequel. It's making a sequel that you remember and it improves it. Borderlands 2 also takes the cake for, you know, like when you go back to an old game, you in your head have an image of what it is, and then it's not that. Borderlands 2 is the image you had in your head of Borderlands 1, which is what makes it a great sequel.
Yep, and I'd agree 100% with everything you just said.
So yeah, that would do it here on the Borderlands show for us. Remember, you can find me on Twitter at Mikey_Mroney. You can follow Dan at A God on the One at Twitter. You can find the show at SWW Show. Remember, subscribe on iTunes. Leave us nice reviews. We'll catch you guys in a couple weeks for episode 3 of the Borderlands show, the pre-sequel. Say goodbye, all.
Goodbye.
This podcast was a product of the SWW show. You can find more at the swwshow.com or facebook.com/the sww store or twitter.com/sww. You can find out more about Mike at Mikey_Maroney on Twitter and more about AJ at Losivor on Twitter. Remember, new episodes come out twice a month, one focusing on the new entertainment news and one focusing on movie club, so new and an old movie. You can find out more again at the swwshow.com. You can find the show on podcast services around the globe.